episode 7 of season 6 with me, the Broken Bottle Boy, here on Twitch. Yes, that is me. Thank you for following the channel, Fancy Wookie, and thank you for subscribing the Aorist. Much appreciated. Good afternoon. It's all kicking off, says Chronotherm. Yes, only insofar as performative resistance and the blue man moving to the red side, which is basically the same. Oh, there's a person in the room, heading off to be person in a meeting. Politics people care about, performance and not policy is happening. Yeah, Tories to Labour and totally not a shock. Yes, right-wing man moves from one right-wing party to another right-wing party. Incredible scenes. So obviously, as often happens on PMQ's days, these papers are basically backwards. Have a fun stream waddling in the paddling pool of acrid turds that is the British press. You're just saying hi to immediately say bye. Okay, Mark, sorry to not have you with us today. Hope you catch up on the YouTube version. Right, so we're going to start with the Sun. We often do. In fact, most days we do. It's a sort of structural rut that this paper review has got itself into. And yeah, so there we go. I'm wearing my Christmas t-shirt. Front page of the Sun. Pork pie plot to oust Bojo. One of the people in the so-called pork pie plot was Christian Wakeford, now the Labour MP for Bury South, having crossed the floor, causing great excitement for political correspondents for whom a sparkler is distracting. C122, H122 says, call me Big Papa. Yes, it's a notorious B.I.G. t-shirt, which a person in the room bought me. Also on the front page of the Sun, Strictly Nadia dumps fiance. Is this a story that should be on the front page of a national newspaper? No, it is not. It's the personal life of a person from a TV show, completely abjectly lacking in any sort of public interest defence. Good afternoon, the research arena. How are you? The pork pie plot is thus called because one of the MPs allegedly involved is the MP from Melton Mowbray, which makes a famous pork pie. Inside the paper on page 3, that isn't page 3, but is page 3, model Nina Agdal is wearing some pearls and some underwear. That's it. Also on that page, the monarchy is to battle again with the House of Parliament, launching a brown sauce to rival HP. A royal ketchup is also splattering onto the market. The royal estate condiments are produced at the Queen's Place in Sandringham, Norfolk. The Queen's Place. It's rather more than a place. Why do all the stories about Boris at the minute have shite names? Yeah, woman wears clothes. Strictly Nadia says Gonzo Socialism. Yeah, pages 4 and 5 are dedicated to that story. Nadia falls foul of the Strictly curse. It's all over for Nad. Dancer is comforted by Hunk Kai. Comforted. They have a very strong friendship, it says here. There's a giant cat. Yulia Minia's pet looks formidable. She's a Maine Coon that weighs 12.5 kilograms, making it just a whisker away from the world record. And as Kafir is only 22 months, she still has growing to do. Look at this cat. What a heckin' chonker of a cat. It's the best the Queen's PR team could come up to bury the nonce news brown sauce. Apparently so. And talking about said nonce news, on page 7, It Girl tells how victims were lured. Lady V. Ghislaine used me as bait. Lady Victoria Harvey claims Ghislaine Maxwell used her as bait to entertain Jeffrey Epstein's friends. The one-time it girl who dated the Duke of York in the 90s met the sex trafficking pair when she was really young and naive. Look at this woman trying to get ahead of the fact that there are countless pictures of her with Ghislaine Maxwell. Absolutely a pro big cat stream. The giant cat is amazing. Maine Coons are amazing, but I'm super allergic, says the Burnside. Oh, that's really unfortunate. A historic horse race in York will be renamed to distance the event from Prince Andrew. The Duke of York Stakes is going to get renamed. It's actually named in honour of Prince George, the Duke of York, who's later George V. How about we just stop naming things after royal? On pages 8 and 9, Poss Splice. Bride Nicola will not wear a Victoria Beckham wedding dress. His brothers are best men, and her brother will be chief bridesmaid. Who gives a fuck? Who gives a fuck? No one cares. No, Brooklyn Beckham is just the son of someone famous. His personal life is of no interest to anyone normal. Why not just stop having horse races or horse faces? I agree, Burnzoid. I do not like horse racing whatsoever. Douglas Murray, yes him, the Auton ambassador to Earth, says, back to the USSR as Russia threatens Ukraine. Putin thinks anything that was once part of the Soviet Union still belongs to him. The EU is impotent. We don't need a war, but we must resist this dictator. Dougie wants a war. Sun's slow, rapid descent into a gossip, mate. It's been there for a long time. Gambling is a plague, says Gonzo Socialism. Absolutely 100% agree. Amanda Holden wore a dress. That's it. That's the story. It had a slit in it, and that became a story. Who gives a fuck about that? 24, obviously some people, not me. It Girl, Rachel G, the Sun's terminology time walk seems to be slipping back even further. Yeah, it oscillates between the 70s and the 90s. That's when it stopped coming up with new terms, apart from woke, which is obviously obsessed with. 24-hour PCR test people. Bez must practice at home for dancing on ice because he's tested positive. Anders Breivik, the world's biggest fan of Melanie Phillips, appeared in court yesterday. He gave a Nazi salute, even as he was asking to be freed on parole. He will not be freed on parole. Unsurprisingly. He's serving 21 years for the killing of 77 people in 2011. On page 13, Oz Open joy after Jock row. Volley good show. Wins for Emma and Andy. Emma Raducanu and Andy Murray both won emotional first-round victories at the Australian Open yesterday. Jordan DH is wearing olive Vans. Where's his article? Yeah, well, a fine pair of shoes. Jane Moore is awful. Is annoyed the fact that Taylor Swift, it says, Taylor Swift isn't allowed to use the Met Police for her security, so why should Prince Harry and Meghan? How about we just abolish royalty, full stop? The Burnzoid, are we going to get Breivik stories once a year every time his parole hearing comes round? I guarantee. I guarantee, and every time it'll give him an opportunity, like when Charles Manson used to appear in court for him to make a scene of somehow. Where's your TED at? What that cuddly toy says about you on the basis of... based on the fact that there was the Prince Andrew story. Student Reese White is 23 and loves his Tigger toy. Musician Joanne and husband Richard, a coffee machine engineer of Hinckley, Leicestershire, share a bedroom with her stuffed doggy and his Huggy. Mum Joanne, 49, says, when I first met Huggy, I was jealous. Who can compete with a childhood toy? Richard does get huffy over Doggy. There are times I deny him a cuddle in favour of Doggy. You are in favour of Doggy. Well, that sentence, if punctuated differently, could mean a very different thing. 51-year-old builder Phil Avery talks about his teddy bear. He's got 3 children. 44% of people still have their childhood teddies and dolls. 34% sleep with the cuddly toy every night. And 9% would rather have Teddy in bed than their partner. My lord. Thank you, Jujo. It was my... It was one of my Christmas presents from Person in the Room and is now my absolute favourite t-shirt. Right, on page... Here's a shock to no one who's familiar with the stream. US siege gunman had been probed by MI5. Siege gunman Malik Faisal Akram was investigated by MI5 a year before his attack on the synagogue. Funny that, isn't it? Also, they're referred to as spooks. Of course, Son loves to use words like spook. On page 19, in doc on second death, author killer murdered his first wife too. A husband strangled his wife 6 years before he murdered his millionaire fiancée and dumped her body in a cesspit, a court heard yesterday. Ian Stewart, now 61, allegedly killed wife Diane Stewart, 47, with a chokehold or by smothering her at home in 2010. He told medics she'd had an epileptic fit, and her inquest later came to the same conclusion, but a court was told Diane's death was from a prolonged restriction of her breathing from an outside source. Jesus Christ. Aren't most of MI5 borrowing office workers these days? Pretty much, yeah. Manchurian candidate, anyone, says Jujo. Phil Avery is an instruction the Queen gives her falconer. I feel like Research Arena says, feel like the house coat I made out of cheap blankets would warrant an article. On a slow day in the sun, you could get that in there. Jordan H, not asking for a front page, would even wear the Vans and nothing else and go on page 3. Islamist ace outsmarts MI5 spook flops, says Panic Future. You've got a future in Sun headline writing there. Hundreds of bottles of booze lie smashed on the floor if a woman went on a wrecking spree because she could not find work. Barbara Strange Alvarez, 36, walked along the alcohol aisle of an Aldi and swept the bottles off the shelf. She caused £10,000 of damage in 5 minutes and cut her hand when she slipped over. At hospital, she assaulted and racially abused a security guard. She told St Albans magistrates being out of work had affected her mental health and she lost the plot. Strange Alvarez of Stevenage, that's her name by the way, not a description of her. Admitted criminal damage, racially aggravated assault on a public order offence. She got a 12-week suspended jail term and must pay Aldi £5,000 in compensation. Jesus. I wonder why she doesn't work. Sounds like a peach. Yeah, Chronotherm. Honestly, if I wanted to commit terrorism, I go to work for MI5. Seems to be what they're best at these days. So much happening in the world. How is it difficult to fill a newspaper? She found a new job at the Sun. I guess if you're going to be a cunt, might as well be as big a cunt as you can be. Renoir, how you doing? Haven't seen you in a while. An idiot sparks an devastating Morelands blaze by setting off a firework to impress his girlfriend. Victor Reedley, by the way, I didn't call him an idiot, that's in the copy. Victor Reedley, 28, accidentally torched 705 acres, about 350 football pitches, in an act of gross and crass recklessness. More than 100 firefighters spent 3 days tackling the mile-long fire on Marsden Moor in West Yorkshire. The blaze last April caused £500,000 of damage. It's interesting. I'd love to know how they calculate damage. You know, the damage there is incalculable, isn't it? To a habitat used by wildlife, including ground nesting birds. Prosecutor Charlotte Rimmer said embers from the firework ignited the site, which is of special scientific interest. Reedley of Huddersfield pleaded guilty to arson and was jailed for a year at Leeds Crown Court. Anastasis Tassu, mitigating, said he accepted full responsibility and is a man who has exhibited genuine remorse over his actions. He's not a young hooligan. He's not a young hooligan. What the fuck does that mean? What the fuck does that mean? On page 25, they've... Oh, fucking hell. This is so stupid. Oh, my God. A prehistoric fertility symbol they have compared to Kim Kardashian. There's no... I mean, what? Shut up. Could have been a really interesting story about this, which is about 25,000-year-old fertility symbol, but no, instead they just have to make it about Kim Kardashian. Fuck me. Use of weapons. I've not just blown my load to PMQs and now ready for some TPT. Good to see you. Fertility statues are thick. They are. Gonna make a parody 70s piff which explains racist dog whistles. Jordan DH, me as I continue my hooliganism into middle age. I'm not a young hooligan. £430,000 to live in a shed. A Brighton contemporary one-bed flat is on the sale for £430,000, but looks like a shed. Hate stories like this presented as, oh, isn't this hilarious? What a hilarious thing. No, this is it's another example of a demented, damaging, horrific housing market. Fish and chips. You know, we don't give a shit about giving people good places to live. What a PMQ, says Research Arena. Prime Minister's Questions happens on Wednesday at 12 o'clock. Predominantly, people focus on questions. There's 6 questions by the Leader of the Opposition, but there are questions by backbenchers and the leaders of other opposition parties. It is inane political theatre, as Use of Weapons says. The housing market is a walking nightmare. Ha ha ha. Yeah, exactly. Fish, chips and salad takeaway serving shock. A fish and chip shop has been battered for serving salad with its fried grub. The owners say the healthy side portion of lettuce, cucumber, tomato and red onion is a hit with most customers. Husband and wife Alexander Polayev and Natalia Sidorova, who run Archie's Chippy in Ramsgate, Kent, even uploaded a video of the meal online. Their TikTok clip has already racked up more than 3 million views and 100,000 likes, but some viewers were less than impressed by seeing the fresh vegetables with a traditional favourite. Is anyone going to mention it? Who has salad with fish and chips? Oh, shut the fuck up. PMQ's a really shit pantomime where everyone acts like a cunt, says Renoir. Pretty much. Burnzoid, it's like the feel-good story about the woman living in a caravan with the same papers demonize GRT communities, yeah? PMQs is like a really shit pantomime. The UK housing market has been fetishized as gonzo socialism. Yeah, and it goes through to all these ridiculous TV programs, particularly like, Amazing Houses or the tiniest houses. Like, fuck me. Presenter of the repair shop on overcoming his dyslexia at 51. I like Jay Blades, but I just wish he would stop doing interviews with The Sun. They reviewed Cheer on Netflix, which is about the competitive cheerleading world. In their TV recommendations today, guess what? Just as we were talking about the fucked housing market, Dream Home Makeovers with Sophie Robinson is on Channel 5. They also recommend The Bay, ITV 9pm. A new lead character has revitalised the crime drama, they claim. Pretty Hard Cases is on Alibi at 9pm, and The Repair Shop is back at 8pm on BBC One. Sensible Liberals and Kin United 2, the kind of shit Sensible Liberals and party protests fetishise wank themselves into oblivion over because it's their platonic ideal of opposition to a government, an attempt at a very witty, very British insult or question to those in power from those also in power, but crucially with absolutely zero chance of changing anything. Yeah. Chronotherm, can't believe it took until he was 15 to be diagnosed with dyslexia. Yeah. Renoir, gonna buy me some new home NFTs. Gonzo Socialism, we lost the plot when houses became investments rather than family homes. Fluff Wizard, I was just watching a stream about the Tartarian conspiracy theory, and it's only marginally more brain-wrecking than The Sun. Yeah, sorry about that. Here we go. Let's do Dear Deirdre. Now violent husband has revealed his rapist past. Jesus Christ. Weeks before I met my husband, he raped a woman, and I found later he told me about it years later when we were in our local pub. I was mortified and then realised I had no idea who the hell I'd married. Met in 2010 and married 2 years later. The marriage was in trouble almost from the start. Bin him and get out. Bin him and get out. Cheating wife is addicted to sex. Despite being happily married for 20 years, I'm struggling to cope with my wife's sex addiction. During the early years of our marriage, I knew my wife was regularly unfaithful, but I had no proof. Whenever I confronted her, she would say it was all in my head. Bin her. My dad's died. How will I cope? Don't write into the sun. It's horrible, but don't write into the sun. I let wife walk all over me. I'm 35 and a quiet man. My wife is 33. We've been married for 3 years. She's lovely, but she rules the roost. I always end up going along with whatever she wants for a quiet life. Well, don't. I'm hanging out with, having sex and getting drunk with my ex, even though she broke up with me. I still deeply care for her. I'm 25 and my ex is 23. After the breakup, we agreed we weren't exclusive. We remained that way until she went on a 2-week holiday. Neither of us saw anyone else while she was away, but her needs and desires seemed to have changed completely when she returned. We no longer have as much sex, which isn't an issue at all, but we're still strongly care for and get a grip, bin it. Kin United 2, I also let my wife walk all over me, but I like it, so it's all good. Toxic as fuck says use of weapons about any one of those stories there. Frugial's checking in to see the Sun with the most important news of the day on the front page. Yeah, indeed. Move on, Binner, says Recursive Rose, fully. In Fab Daily, I left my husband despite us being fine. No rows, no cheating, no secrets, yet Mum, Claire Lodge, still called it quits. She explains why. You don't have to have any of those things to want to call it quits. If you're not happy in a relationship, it's okay to leave. Fuck me. After multiple celeb couples split, psychologist Emma Kenny explains the 10 things you do which could stop you from finding lasting love. Fucking, she's not a psychologist. She has a degree in psychology. She's not a psychologist. £50 letter today comes from Linda Rice, who says, how on earth can cops drop charges against Frank Lampard? They say there is insufficient evidence when the former footballer is pictured holding a coffee cup and a phone while driving. Once again, it proves there's one law for the rich and another for the rest of us. Australia, here I come. Because it's notoriously much better in Australia. They don't have power imbalances at all. Fucking hell. Coins. But it's the same coin as we've had recently. Another coin. It is the 2022 UK Jubilee Platinum Golden Sovereign, the £329 sovereign. No variety in coins during January. Cash kickbacks and free tickets to football matches. Yeah, coins. In the sport, get a Rune. Everton want to interview him, but Jose's in the mix too. Jose Mourinho at Everton. 329 quid coin. Yeah. Right, give me your scores for the Sun. For me, it's a classic triple negative nice. No, quadruple negative nice. You know, it's an appalling paper. Right. I'm going to do... It's going to speed round through the Daily Mirror next, and then the Times and the Daily Mail. But first, let us do the quadruple negative nice. Fuck the Sun, says the Burnzoid. Quadruple negative nice from Slinkermeyer. Jose isn't going to Everton. Of course he's not. Minus Cromwell quotes in Parliament, but not beheading the Queen, says use of weapons. The Research Arena platinum gold sounds like an indecisive coin. Crinothum, I want Mourinho to go to Everton for the pure banter. Dan Jones 3142. Jose to Everton is the most Everton thing that has ever Evertoned. Frugulous negative gapes. Septuple negative nice. Nadine Ostrich anuses from Gonzo Socialism. And Gethin Wyn Jones says minus Everton, triple negative nice, even though I support them. Right, I support Norwich City, so I know the pain. Let's just do a quick roll call. I'm the Broken Bottle Boy. You can follow me on Twitter at Broken Bottle Boy, and also on TikTok, which I am going to start doing better things on. I just deleted all my old TikToks, and I'm now going to make new good ones. Apple Pie Chart is in the chat. Ash Flaps McNulty is in there. Bear Pavlova, one of my favourite usernames, is also here. Hello, Big Old Boy, an excellent username as well. Good to see you. Dan Jones 3142. Hello. Fancy Wookie. There's some great usernames. Fancy Wookie, Fluff Weasel, Frugulous, and Gethin Wyn Jones are here. Gledster, Gonzo Socialism, Heathmore 2401, JG Dawn, Jujo, Kinu92, Chronothum, Lurks, Lyle Littef, Pablo Bonzo, Panic Future, Renoir, Rachel, Recursive Rose, Rick James Mujahideen, again, absolutely a massive fan of that username, Rimistino, Slinkermeyer, 1727, Spike Trap Claire, the Burnzoid, the Research Arena, and of course, last but not least, use of weapons. Hello to you all on this Wednesday show, where I am happy to be the post PMQ palette cleanser. Right. Burnsley says, try supporting a non-old firm team in the SPL. Jujo supports Hearts. Burnsley follows Hibs, so we are now enemies for life. Gonzo Socialism says Big Dunk is in there as cover for now and should be given a shot, I think. Jujo 1, my family are 50-50. Use of weapons. Imagine in the year of our Lord 2022 watching Scottish football. Right, so now, speed round through the Mirror. 1 minute 30 for the Mirror. And then it's gone. Right, ready. And we're going now. On the front page of the Daily Mirror, Fiona Phillips says, the menopause has left me feeling half the person I was. There's a pointless thing about Britain's Got Talent. Porcupine plot to ditch PM is the Mirror's front page. Inside, there's a big advert for the postcode lottery, followed by crackdown in protests thrown out. 14th defeat for the policing bill. Long may those defeats continue. BGTZ lemon squeezy, basically BGT presenters wearing yellow. Coming back to bite him. Party Probe will interview PM's former aide Cummings. A new Lisa Life. Aunt's ex spruces up mansion as she settles down with new man. Who cares? I'll tell the court I saw Andrew in the club with the girl, says a new witness. I've got brain fog, anxiety, I cry a lot, but worst of all is the fear, says Fiona Phillips, talking about the menopause. Jennifer Aniston wore some clothes. Bloodbath of channels. Nothing off the table as BBC to lose £1.5 billion. Polly Hudson says, let Harry protect the ones he loves. Jay Blades interviewed in the Mirror as well. Teen killed boy and posed naked body. Disturbing details of trial at trial. 27-year-old murder. Is tasking too much. Apprentice Sharma quits after 19 days. Inflame her arthritis. Max and Kira's Law is a great thing. It eases the time of pain and loss. Papers of World War II sailor who was pen pal with Nazi ship survivor are going on sale. A person who committed burglaries while riding a mobility scooter has been jailed. And in the sport, Poggy in the window. Rangnick admits he will play a want-away star to help him seal dream move to Real Madrid. There you go. That is the Mirror. Mirror's a very boring paper, isn't it? Gonzo Socialism. The Daily Mirror is great for lining a cat litter tray. Dear Deirdre, my Prime Minister keeps gaslighting me, lying and cheating. What should I do? Bin him. Oh, I forgot to change the photo. Sorry. Thank you, Rachology. I wish I'd been looking up to see that. Yeah, I forgot to change. Anyway, here is the mirror. Enjoy. King United says, obviously menopause is a serious thing and people should be supported with it, but also being anxious, having brain fog and crying a lot is called living in 2022. Right. Anyway, there's the mirror. Sorry, I forgot to change the picture. Thank you for reminding me, Rachology. Right, we're gonna do the times. By the way, if you haven't checked out my newsletter recently, yesterday's edition was on Giles Corrin, and I think it caused his latest sock puppet account to lose its mind. So, joyful for that reason. Broken bottle boy. Substack.com. There you go. Do check it out, and if you could share it, I'd really appreciate it. Yo, SK, how's it going? Burnside, really enjoyed the newsletter. Thank you. I think the next one's going to be on the BBC. Not sure though. We've all heard about Christian Wakeford. We have. We've all heard about him. We've just been talking about it. Right man moves from one right-wing party to another right-wing party. Incredible. What's his sock puppet so I can DM him pictures of Polish sausages as use of weapons? SK, just prepare some chicken for tonight as dinner. Is it the chicken dessert? Right, on the let's get on with the Times. Front page of the Times. My hot list of men. Anna Murphy says they're all dressed. Whoopie-doo. The waist is back. Great news. The waist is back. Before that, I didn't know what was connecting the upper part of my body to my legs, but now the waist is back. Front page of the Times. Redwall Tory MPs team up to topple Johnson. End of COVID restrictions, but not face masks. This is briefing on what he was going to say in Parliament. And he just said in Parliament just after PMQs, in an attempt mainly to distract from PMQs. Plan B rules going out the window, basically. Inside the Times. Breaking inside. Bono is the Gerald Ratner of rock and roll. He says, U2 songs make me cringe. I would simply stop playing them then. Joe Elliott, who did 2 residencies in Las Vegas with Def Leppard, has said that Vegas is a gamble for Adele's vocals. Apparently, the dry, hot weather dries out your vocal cords, so you need humidifiers and stuff. Undersea cable is threat to our energy security minister warns. Penny Mordaunt, a trade minister and former defence secretary, came out against it. Aquin, the company behind the project, plans to lay a power and communications cable under the channel. Mordaunt said that this would make Britain more reliant on France, which has threatened to interrupt supplies and disputes over fishing. Oh, not the feckless French. Have we seen the Josh Weller sketch about Taken and U2? No, but I would definitely like to see it. Rolling Stone made a great typo with the Bono article. I hate my band name Voice and Song, says Bono as he wiped his tears away with stacks of cash. Yeah. Witness to testify she saw Andrew dancing with a girl. We covered that one. Rishi Sunak walked out of an interview yesterday because he was asked if he fully supported the Prime Minister. Just using the David Cameron thing, which is where he didn't want to do an interview anymore, he just walked out of shot like that. So you can see me because I was in the mirror down there. Author's murderer back in court over wife's death 6 years earlier. Husband of Britain killed in Tonga tsunami blames himself. Poor guy. That's a horrendous story. A teenager with a grotesque interest in child murder was identified as the killer of a 6-year-old after the victim's mother was acquitted of the crime, the Old Bailey was told yesterday. James Watson, then 13, had been the last person seen with Ricky alive, but was ruled out as a suspect because of a fundamental error in the police investigation. They're so good at their jobs, aren't they? Heck, if we did, we could... there's nothing about the undersea cable that prevents you from also building out your own electricity generation. Heck, if we did, we could start selling excess to the French. Cables aren't one way. 100%. I have no object permanence and thought Mick had died then. Hello, the paper's still pretending they care about Boris partying? Well, yes, indeed they are. Yeah, I know that story's really dark. MI5 concluded Texas terrorist was no threat 2 years ago. Is that right? Is it? Victim of modern slavery was kept in a shed for 40 years. The people who were arrested for this, how many other people knew? how many other people knew? Peter Swales, 56, from Cumbria, changed his plea at Carlisle Crown Court yesterday, having previously denied conspiring to facilitate travel of another with a view to exploitation. His father, also called Peter Swales, 80, was accused of the same offence, but died in September last year. The victim was dishevelled and agitated as he revealed to officers that he had lived in a shed in complete darkness for 40 years. The court was told that he was forced to undertake work on farms from age of 16, painting, slating and tarmacking, and that he was paid just £10 a day. On occasion, Swales Sr. would make contact and arrange for his son to work with the man, the hearing was told. However, Swales Jr. accepted that on occasion he paid the man he had known for many years less than his minimum entitlement. A search warrant was executed at Hadrian's Caravan Park near Carlisle on October 3rd, and Peter Swales Sr. was arrested in his static caravan on suspicion of slavery offences under the Modern Slavery Act 2015. When the Gangmaster and Labour Abuse Authority told him that he was under arrest, he said, "Not all this slavery thing again." The victim received specialist help and now lives in supported accommodation. Swales of Lowharker, Carlisle, was bailed until sentencing on February 4th. The court was told how he changed his plea on the agreed basis of his limited involvement with the victim and that he had not been aware of the depravity of his living conditions. Fuck you. I do need to read... I do need to read those lines. I will do those. SK, I'll do those after this. Surgeries fear an exodus of GPs as deadline for staff jabs nears. Troops told to get booster or miss overseas missions. Oh no, if they don't get their jab, they won't be able to go abroad and kill people. Call to scrap university personal statements on university applications and barometers of middle-class privilege and should be dropped, a leading social mobility expert has said. He says that in a column for The Times. Do you want to see the picture of the topless Matt Hancock? I warn you now that a discourse has started about whether Matt Hancock is fuckable. There he is, the otter-like Matt Hancock. And there is what his face looks like when he's leering over you. The Neon Lady confirms not fuckable. SK the Crusader votes not fuckable. He 2401. Christ, just a sort of low moan of disgust from Slinkermeyer. Dan Jones, no. Nope, says Fluffweasel. Nope. Is he bulldogging, says Conso Socialism. Veterans will be fast-tracked into prison officer roles in about 50 prisons across England and Wales, because that's definitely not going to lead to an increase in abuse, is it? Chronotherm says, I have the exact same body type, so I have to say yes. Frankly, I am in far less good shape than Matt Hancock, so, But I don't have the mentality of a mentally deranged Labrador, so... There's more propaganda in here. Propaganda of a police medic helping a refugee there. Like, that is propaganda. That there is propaganda. Navy will become taxi servant for channel migrants is the claim. Fuck me, this obvious bullshit. Seasonal gut bacteria help pandas stay chubby. That's now my excuse too. Big old boy's dick just fell off looking at the Matt Hancock picture. Kinny92, not fuckable because he has a mind of either a 9-year-old or a golden retriever. Rachel, you close my eyes because I've already seen enough. Rick James Mujahideen said, try to write Matt Hancock real doll, and it changed it to real doll. It knows. Right, in the comments section, Daniel Finkelstein says, a PM without integrity imperils democracy. He didn't have this problem in 2019. Curious that Daniel Finkelstein, a man of well-known integrity, Gatestone Institute, should suddenly come to this mindset. Curious, isn't it? Also in the comment section, the unfortunately named Roger Boys says, as the West jaws, Iran dreams of war. Iran doesn't fucking want a war. What is this fuck up, this bullshit? A visit home turns the key on memories of childhood, writes Matthew Paris. Remember, of course, that he grew up in South Africa, so... COVID fraudsters are being given a free pass, says Alice Thompson. Which is true, they are, and it's obscene. And clarifications and corrections, the Times reports. We reported an alleged Chinese agent, Christine Lee, made generous donation to the Conservative Party at a 2018 fundraising event organised by Alexander Yip, a Conservative councillor and former director of the British Chinese Project. Alex Yip states there was no donation was made and that Lee was not donated to the party since she was identified as having close links with the Chinese embassy. We are happy to put this on the record. Doesn't mean it's true, we're just happy to put it on the record. Use of weapons. Iran is going to invade who? They're dealing with a huge refugee crisis for Afghanistan, which the West has caused. Sunak has no right to write off 4.3 billion of public money. Of course not. It's obscene. Chris Morris warsketch.mp4 says, Frugius, yeah. Birthdays today. Michael Crawford, known for some mothers do have him, but also many musicals, is 80. Julian Barnes, the author, is 76. Murray Beauclerk, the Duke of St Albans, is 83. Murray Beauclerk, that's a real name. Rob Behrens, the Parliamentary and Health Service Ombudsman, is 70. John Bercow, Speaker of the House of Commons till 2019, and MP for Buckingham until 2019, is 59. Ewan Blair, co-founder of education and recruitment startup Multiverse, is 38, also son of Tony Blair, of course. Anthony Brown, Conservative MP for South Cambridgeshire, is 55. Jenson Button, British Formula 1 world champion in 2009, is 42. Damien Chazelle, the filmmaker, is 37. Larry Clark, the filmmaker, is 79. Tim Foster, the rower Olympic gold medalist, is 52. Josephine Gould, diplomat, British Deputy High Commissioner to Kenya, UK Ambassador to Cote d'Ivoire, is 49. Lady Kate Gavron, the chairman of Carcanet Press, is 27. Tippi Hedren is still alive. She's 92. Wayne Hemingway, fashion designer and co-founder of Red or Dead, is 61. Dame Patricia Hodgson, chairman of Ofcom until 2017, is 75. The Right Reverend Rose Hudson Wilkin, Bishop of Dover and chaplain to the Queen until 2019, is 61. Trevor Kavanagh, piece of shit, political editor and now columnist of The Sun, is 79. Svetlana Korinka, the Russian gymnast and two-time Olympic champion in 1996 and 2000, and nine-time world champion, is 43. Richard Lester, the film director, directed A Hard Day's Night for the Beatles, is 90. Dolly Parton, happy birthday to her, is 76. Sir Simon Rattle, OM, music director of the London Symphony Orchestra, chief conductor and artistic director of the Berlin Philharmonic Orchestra until 2018, is 67. Cindy Sherman, the photographer and film director, is 68. Sir John Stanley, the Conservative MP until 2015, in Northern Ireland Minister until 1988, is 80. Scott Taunton, Chief Executive of News UK Broadcasting, including Times Radio, is 51. Dennis Taylor, the snooker player and world champion in 1985, is 73. In 2017, the US announced the extradition and arraignment of the Mexican drug lord El Chapo. He was jailed for life in 2019. The last word goes to Edgar Allan Poe in Eleonora. They who dream by day are cognizant of many things which escape those who dream only by night. Happy birthday to Cindy Sherman, says Selenka Meyer. Gonzo Socialism. I wonder if Blair's offspring had woken up drunk outside any Leicester Square toilets recently. Cronathan, they have you and Blair's birthday, but not Pinochet's kids. More racism from the Times. Sunak has no right to write off 4.3 billion. Yeah, exactly. Use of weapons says the mullahs are just nuclear edging. Rick James Mujahideen, Iran has been 6 months away from having a nuke since at least the mid-90s, according to the media. Yeah. In the world news, humiliating defeat looms for Biden on voting rights laws. Tale of the secret daughter that Marquez left untold. The Nobel Prize-winning author Gabriel Garcia Marquez once said that we have three lives: the public, the private, and the secret. Nearly 8 years after his death, Colombian author's own secret has emerged. A daughter with a Mexican woman 33 years his junior. In the 1990s, Garcia Marquez had an affair with the writer Susana Cato, with whom he worked on 2 film scripts. Their daughter was named Indira, after the former Indian Prime Minister Indira Gandhi, whom Garcia Marquez admired and who was said to have been the first person to congratulate him when he was awarded the Nobel Prize for Literature in 1982. At the time of Indira's birth, Garcia Marquez was married, apparently happily, to Mercedes Baca. A couple who lived in Mexico City had 2 sons, Rodrigo and Gonzalo. It's not known whether Baca, who died in 2020, knew of her husband's daughter. Colombian journalist who uncovered the story, Gustavo Tatis, said it's possible she had an intuition about the affair and the child. What the fuck does that mean? Susana Cato was born in 1960 in Mexico City. She wrote the screenplays for You Don't Play With Love in 1991 with Garcia Marquez, as well as the short story, the short film The Mirror of Two Moons. Indira Cato, now in her early 30s, has always used her mother's surname. She's a documentary producer in Mexico. and won awards for a 2014 film on the migrant crisis. She bears a striking resemblance to her father. Also, why does she have to have her parentage discussed in a newspaper, let alone an international newspaper like this? After an old hospital in Philadelphia went bankrupt, patients were discharged, medical waste was removed, doctors and nurses found jobs elsewhere, and a once busy casualty department closed its doors. But there was one piece of business that remained harder to settle. In 1975, a doctor at the hospital had implanted a plutonium-powered pacemaker in a patient. That person was still alive, walking around with a radioactive substance in their chest, and the hospital still had a duty to monitor the device until the patient died. Then, under the terms of its radioactive materials license, it was obliged to ensure its removal and disposal. Lawyers for the Hahnemann University Hospital could not tell what that would be. Given the patient's good health and current age at the time of explantation, explantation, removal of the pacemaker is uncertain, they said in a motion filed with bankruptcy court in Delaware. Nuclear-powered pacemakers were phased out in the 1980s. Radiation from such devices amounts to no more than a single dental x-ray. Duncan White of the Nuclear Regulatory Commission told the Wall Street Journal, in rare cases people have been buried with them, though the Commission prefers that they are removed. The Los Alamos National Laboratory's off-site source recovery program seeks to recover radioactive material, says on its website there's still a number of people in the US who have nuclear-powered pacemakers. One of them is the unnamed patient of the Hahnemann Hospital. Lawyers for the hospital raised the matter during bankruptcy proceedings. The patient was only 23 when they received the implant of the pacemaker powered by plutonium-238, the radioactive substance sealed within a welded titanium case. In 1995, they received a replacement powered by lithium batteries. The nuclear pacemaker was disconnected, but removing it would have required surgery. Lawyers for the hospital have gained approval to hire a company to take over the management of the pacemaker for $48,644, a sum that covers calls to the patient for the next 20 years. What a fucked up world. US hospitals dump people who run out of money, insurance for treatment at bus stops and in church night shelters. As sick and twisted it is. Sounds like a supervillain origin story. Chronotherm wants nuclear-powered parts. Slinkermeyer said sounds like a supervillain origin story. It does, doesn't it? The right in America are banning books again, including The Handmaid's Tale. An Indian couple claim to be getting married in the metaverse. They're having a Hogwarts-themed reception because, of course, they are. Of course, the metaverse doesn't exist. They're essentially getting married in a kind of off-brand Minecraft. Microsoft bought Activision for $70 billion. We'll see what happens there. Lots of idiots, of course, saying that's a metaverse story again. Bullshit. David Smith in the business column says Britain's own great resignation is skewing its employment figures. Let's see what's happening in the obituaries. Right. God, these pages are so hard to... There we go. In the obituaries, Major Danny West, SAS veteran who played key role in the Falklands and was one of the longest continually serving soldiers in the regiment's history. He has died aged 78. Yeah. Absolute, like... Look at the man's hair. Getting married in Minecraft sets off some alarm. Yeah, it should, shouldn't it? Oh, just my glasses go in the bin. That's not good. Fire Bobby Kotick, says Frugulus. Does Minecraft have divorce lawyers? I mean, they're getting married in real life, but they're also having a ceremony in a metaverse. Barney Platts Mills, film director with egalitarian instincts, whose best work, Bronco Bullfrog, was a cult chronicle of 60s working class life, has died. He was 76. And Dr. David Williams, A&E consultant who led the response to disasters in London and campaigned for casualty doctors to be specially trained, has died. He was 83. Thank you for redeeming Hydrate, Fluffweasel. That is needed. In the sport, struggling Sancho feels United strain, says Rangnick. Thorpe doubt putting future Graham Thorpe facing uncertain future as England assistant coach after a video took of Tasmanian police breaking up drinking session involving Ashes players from both teams at 6 a.m. on Monday was made public. It's understood that Thorpe already had plans to leave. And Eddie Jones says Owen Farrell is fit for the Six Nations. Finally. Give me your scores for Times, of course. Of course. We come to the Daily Mail. such as it is. Let me change the image so that we can discuss that. Right, front page of the Daily Mail. It's another story on Operation the pork pie plot. I'm desperate for pork pie. Graham Thorpe married a science teacher from my high school, says Gonzo Socialism. There's some facts. Quadruple negative. No, was it? Yes, quadruple negative. Nice from Slinkermeyer for the Times. A sensible score for a terrible paper. Right. Front page of the Daily Mail. Get this paper on your phone or tablet. No, thank you. I'd have to burn it. Today, the Cabinet will agree to a Plan B curbs. There. We don't need to wait for Parliament, do we? Just wait for the Daily Mail to tell us that has happened. Britain is basking post-COVID jobs miracle. Anyone feel that they're basking in a jobs miracle? But panicking Red Wall Tories are turning on the man who got them elected. The Daily Mail turning back towards Boris Johnson at this point. Perhaps because he started to take a kick at the BBC, as he hoped. Fuck me, stop calling scientific achievements a miracle. Yeah, this paper will leave you says Rachel. This paper will leave you needing tablets, says Gonzo Socialism. Yes, more accurate. England cricket flops, 6 a.m. booze shame. It just reminds me of like Euro 96 and jobs miracle is that I have a job, says FK3 Sailor. Well, yeah, there is that. Stay there. Grenadier Guards give 3 cheers as Andrew is replaced as their chief by the Queen. The Queen, currently, officially, not dead. Jubilee Medal for Harry, Meghan and Duke. Prince Harry, Meghan and Prince Andrew are set to be awarded special Platinum Jubilee Medal by the Queen next month. The commemorative medals are also being presented to frontline staff, but as previous Jubilees, the Queen will pay privately for medals to be given to members of her wider family, including Prince Andrew. Fuck. That as jabs, not jobs. Basking my job miracle is Giles Corran writing about sex. Yeah, right. Pages 6 and 7. Treachery of the Red Wall traitors. Yeah, Daily Mail's not happy about that. At last, Rishi says, I believe him. Yeah, bullshit. The Daily Mail has got more Hancock pictures, so if you didn't get enough of Hancock in the other papers, there he is again. Oh, look at it. Imagine, there he is. Just over you. But apparently he flouted the swim rules because he was He had a guest with him, Robert Buckland, the former minister, who's not a member of the club, and Lord Bethel, who is. Yeah, and they say that Hancock has brought the club into disrepute. Yeah. Yeah, privately, still our money. Hancock fell in after a parkour incident. Healing Miranda's doggy heartbreak. Patty the Pachoon. Yeah, Miranda Hart's got a new dog. There you go. Great. The dog is great. I love a dog. Powerfully Anglo looks from Hancock, says the neon lady. Under threat, the Great British Conservatory. Apparently, they can overheat in the summer, so fewer people are allowed to have them. They're writing about conservatories as if they're an animal under threat. Fears and fighting spirit of nation in Kremlin crosshairs, says Ian Birrell in Kiev. The Daily Mail really wants a war. What they really want is for Boris Johnson to get his own Falklands, don't they? We may axe BBC Two, says Boss in licence fee storm. Mother of God! Line of Duty stars an anti-Boris spoof video. Yeah, led by donkeys, having persuaded some of the actors from Line of Duty to add their voices to this video, have essentially ruined any memory I had of that show. That's it. Now all I can think of is this fucking cringeworthy led by donkeys video in which the AC-12 detectives interview Boris Johnson. Of course, all the usual suspects fucking love it. On page 15, cursed again, Dan Strictly, partner in love split. The implication, of course, that the Daily Mail is trying to make there is that he's involved somehow. Of course, he's not. Police blunders let 6-year-old Ricky Neves killer go free for decades, is the claim. Led by FBPA, yeah, Miranda comes from a family of nobles, but not upper-class heart. Yeah, that's the one. Daniel Johnson, not that one. Sadly, he passed away. Cummings is a liar and an embittered narcissist. So why treat his every claim as the gospel truth? Well, because there's actually evidence. Sarah Vine says, I adore the BBC, but it's like a trust fund brat. You don't fucking adore them. What is this fucking bullshit? I would really appreciate if they could just have a scintilla of honesty and say, I don't endure it, I want it to fucking die. Which is fine. It's a valid viewpoint even. But this fucking bullshit about, I love it, but I just think certain things have changed. Alison Pearson's pulling the same attempted shit in there. Who paid £2,000 for a dress that doesn't exist? Well, idiots. Mass Killer Breivik gives Nazi salute as he asks for parole. This from the paper that gave Melanie Phillips work for many, many years. Fuck off, Sarah, and stay fucked off, says the neon lady. Rachel G, talking about the Mail, says judges are traitors, juries are traitors, MPs are traitors, section of the public are traitors. Insert Simpson, no, it's the kids who are wrong meme. Yeah. What makes so many women tear apart successful females on a website that's pure poison? It's another feature on Tattle Life. They're obsessed with this forum. Obsessed with it because they cannot control the fact that some people don't like them. Panic Future. If it were a trust fund brat, the papers would be jumping on grenades to protect it. Yeah, females. Yeah, exactly. I'm always grim when it's January 9th. January 19th, 2022. On this day, from the Daily Mail archive in 1973. Rachel Hayhoe, captain of England's women's cricket team, signed up with ITV last night to become television's first woman sports reporter. Miss Hayhoe, 33, was quite bowled over by her new job. I'm no supporter of women's lib, she said, but I'm really thrilled at getting into what is accepted as a man's world. Sport has always been my life. Oh, fucking hell. January 19th, 1998. Gordon Brown was handed a warning by Tony Blair's friends last night. The Chancellor, suspected of manoeuvring for power, was told, nobody is indispensable. Senior ministers declared Mr. Brown could jeopardise his long-term career unless he comes to terms with his resentment at losing out over the Labour leadership. Happy birthday, Jensen Button, 42. Tippi Hedren, 92. Born on this day, Matthew Webb, 1848 to 1883, merchant navy captain from Shropshire, became the first person to swim the English Channel in 1875. He was stung by a jellyfish 8 hours in, but continued after a dose of brandy. His final stunt was to swim across the rapids at Niagara Falls. His body was found 4 days later. Janis Joplin, 1943 to 1970, US singer whose best-known song was Lord Won't You Buy Me Mercedes-Benz, was already a heroin addict when she appeared at the Woodstock Music Festival. What a grim way to describe her life, but this is the fucking Daily Mail. She died, of course, of an overdose, aged 27. On January 19th, in 1917, London was rocked by a largest explosion when 50 tons of TNT detonated at a munitions factory at Silvertown. It killed 73 people and injured more than 400. In 1967, the Monkees secured their first UK #1 with I'm a Believer. Quote of the day comes from André Malraux, the French author. Art is a revolt against man's fate. And the joke of the day. What do you call toast in a zoo? Bred in captivity. Rachology with the Niagara thing, and Janice and Matthew Webb says that's not a stunt, a successful suicide attempt. C122 H122 says not funny for the joke. Fact. C122 H122. Sorry, I'm late. Had to walk the dog. Dogs always trump the stream. Reddit banned our females, which documented its use in the media and had Quark as the icon. Sinkamaya says, I always hear females in the Quark voice. Fully, yeah, me too. Glesder, Tattle Life, not Mumsnet. Yeah, Daily Mail's not going to come at Mumsnet, is it? The Burnzoid, my father-in-law tells that joke every other time I see him. Oh, God. Slave kept for 40 years was forced to live in a shed. We covered that story in the other paper. Look at the face of the guy found guilty. Looks exactly what you think, doesn't it? Cancel Captain Cook, you might as well cancel maps, science, or humanity itself as courageous explorer becomes latest British hero to be condemned by the historically ignorant woke mob. A leading writer argues, can you guess who the leading writer is? It's Dominic Sambrook. Fiancé who murdered author killed first wife and said she had a fit. Let's cover that. Mutinous Tories hopped about like Rumpelstiltskin on Red Bull, says Henry Deeds. A terrible writer. Shappy Corsandi and fellow comic Mark Steele and our couple is that it reports Richard Eden. Who cares? These people's permanent. Cancel. We might as well cancel maps. Yeah. Hasn't there always been an acknowledgement that Captain Cook was a dickhead? There has indeed. There's a thing about parents being tricked by WhatsApp fraud. I would simply ring my child and find out if they needed my help rather than relying on WhatsApp messages. Dream Home Makeovers with Sophie Robinson is their pick of the day. In the TV recommendations, in the TV reviews, Why Ships Crash got 2 stars, while The Secret Life of Pets got 4 stars. Captain Cook wasn't even fondly remembered in his life for C-122. Yeah, exactly. Right, in the cartoons today, Garfield is having to hang out with Odie. In Chloe and Co, Chloe's talking to a man, and the man says, I had a dream about you. She says, was it rude? Very. Did I slap you? Yes, but it was worth it. Careful or you'll get another one, she says. Jesus. Fred Bassett is annoyed that it's taking too long to take him out for his walk. Yes. Treat him better, owners. Right, here is today's poems. They're short, thank God for that. Firstly the poem, then the limerick. When all around is dark and cold and mean winds blow, moan and blow, take heart, my friend, hold on, stand fast, no matter weal or woe. For somewhere there's a rainbow, and it will come shining through, and somewhere, though now hid from sight, are skies of summer blue. And somewhere in the universe, no doubt that this is true, heaven's very brightest star is shining just for you. I regret to inform you that the writer of this poem is from Norfolk. Norfolk is now over, that's it. Cancel Norfolk. Limerick. So, poor Bojo is suffering the blues, and fears the PM's job he will lose. For though he's repeating, he thought it a meeting, the email said, bring your own booze. And that comes from Paul A. Freeman of Abu Dhabi. Norfolk cancelled. Hate to see it. We do. F's in the chat for Norfolk. Use of weapons, our shit. Forgot how much I hate the poem since I've been busy and unable to watch. Cancel. We're all cancelled. None of us are free of sin. Yeah, says Frugulus. In the straight to the point letters today, Roger Perrin says, the Prince and Princess of California will not honour us with a visit unless we provide protection. Oh dear, how sad. Never mind. Christine Ward says, never mind, Andrew. Always have Fergie, always. Ralph Doncaster of Bridgenorth says, we had a great office party. We serviced the computers and planned targets and staffing levels. Jesus Christ. Stephen Sherrington said, how about appointing a minister for blooming common sense? Doug Elliott says, due to the soaring power bills, I've cancelled plans to buy an electric car. Peter Lorry, not that one, says, subsidising farmers to rewild their land? Has our green government lost the plot? Ian Dark says, the national anthem should be I vow to my country. God save the Queen could be reserved for when the monarch is present. John Atkinson says, no one expects the woke inquisition. Mike Smith says, Microsoft's politically correct rewriting of Neil Armstrong's One Giant Leap for Mankind opts for humanity, which still contains man. Fuck off. And finally, Duncan Fisher says, has bounce back Boris been getting lessons from Teflon Tony? King92, congratulations on getting published, Mick, damn you. C122, H122, wonder why Meghan and Harry feel unsafe in GB Normal Island. Rewild Downing Street says Gonzo Socialism. Cronin thumbs into that plan but says it needs fumigating first. Richology says, Captain Cook, at time he sailed he was given orders on how to handle first contact situations with Royal Society that emphasised discretion, retreat from hostility, preventing crew from being alone with locals and honouring trade agreements. There was general anger at the time. He was a dick by the standards then. The Burnside, these people should be on a register somewhere. Today's letters are so over the top that I'm tempted to think they're made up. Some of them probably are. Today's recipe is millet porridge and berry compote. I mean, it looks fine. It's hardly a recipe. They're trying to sell you various horrible holidays, Stana stair lifts, see up to 35 miles with these high-powered binoculars, or just through your neighbour's windows. And if you don't want that, how about a Clarice Cliff-inspired Copper Touch bracelet? Yours for 79 quid. Do you use milk or salt water for the porridge, though? Hang on, let me tell you. Let me tell you. Almond milk. In the Daily Mail, adding berries to yogurt isn't a recipe for C122. Facts. And on the back page, in the sport, Thorpe acts for booze shame. Coach to lose job after police called as he smoked in hotel during 6 a.m. binge with Root and Aussies. But remember that they fucking love people like Ian Botham. He was booze mad in the 80s. Woke Daily Mail says C122, H122. Wrong, says the Burnzoid. Conte says stop the call-offs for injuries. Antonio Conte has condemned using injuries as an excuse to postpone Premier League games as he labelled a top flight's fixture chaos a mess. Rick James Mujahideen says porridge cancelled. Right, that was the Daily Mail, and that has been our show for today, The Paper Thing, Season 6, Episode 7. Thank you for joining me if you're watching live, and if you're watching this on YouTube, please like, subscribe, and comment. Gonzo Socialist and Botham was always getting caught smoking weed. C122, H122 agrees with Conte. I agree with Conte, to be honest. Thank you. Give me a score for Daily Mail if you want. Remember, of course, if you can share the newsletter, please do just go to my Twitter, @BrokenBottleBoy. It is the pinned tweet. Would really, really appreciate that. C122, H122 is going to catch up on YouTube. Burnzoid with a septuple negative nice, softy milk porridge Daily Mail. Research Arena is doing a stream tonight at 5 p.m. about what can be defined as a sandwich. That's well worth tuning into. Burnzoid says cheers. Thank you. Cheers to you too. And Gonzo Socialism in with minus negative nice, ostrich anuses. Cheers, Sangman. I will see you all tomorrow. And SK, I will do the recording now. Bye-bye.